Okay, if you could take your seats so we could get started. Are there any public speakers this morning?
There are no public speakers.
Great. Can I have a motion on the minutes, please? Second? All in favor? Minutes are approved. Any changes to the committee work plan?
There are no changes to the plan.
Okay, on to the operations report.
Absolute on-time performance results for April 2009. System was 77.7%, which was up 4.4%. On the A division was 78.6%, which was up 7.2%. And on the B division, on-time performance was 77%, up 2.5%. We had decreases in delays across almost every category. Controllable was system-wide was 88.3, up 3.2%. A division was 89.6, up 5.3. And B division was 87.3, up 1.5. There were 37,306 delays in April. The top three causes were supplemental schedules, operational diversions, and overcrowding, and that combined to account for more than 70% of the total. One other note on subway on-time performance. Last month we were asked if data were available on weekend on-time performance. While we have not published weekend statistics in this month's agenda, we expect to be able to do so starting with next month's report.
Howard, can we also see, I know we changed the way we do this. When are we going to start seeing comparisons to year over year? It's going to be like August. August is the first time we're going to start seeing it?
Yeah, we put the new system in last August, so in the that's when you'll be able to do.
So that's close enough. I'm not going to ask you to do the old. Okay, thanks.
Yep. Subway weight assessment, we had a very good month. It was 89% in April, up 3.7% from last year. Results for the A division increased by 6.6%, while the B division was up by 2.2%. In April, mean distance between failure was 147,167 miles, which was down 6.7% from 157,804 a year ago. The 12-month average was 133,000, down 9% from 146,253 during the previous 12-month period. Because we get the results for the next month after the books are generally printed, I usually send out to the committee the subsequent month performance, and the results for May were very encouraging. Actual fleet-wide mean distance between failure was 185,485. That's the best that we've had since June of 2005. It was a month in which the law of large numbers didn't particularly hold sway, and almost every fleet, for every fleet, the performance improved. The May 2009 result, that was 39% higher than May 2008 of 133,825. And I think if I can get through the glass here and knock on wood, I think we are beginning to see the upturn in mean distance between failure, and I expect it to. We maybe drop back on from month to month, but I think the trend is going to be now steadily upward. That is a big part of it, and I think we are also seeing better maintenance in the barns, better running maintenance, and more identification of problems before the car goes out on the road and breaks down. Buses, overall bus performance continues to be strong. Weekday pullout performance was 99.8% or better for both the AM/PM peaks for both the month of April and the 12-month average. Similarly, completed trips averaged 98.8% for the month of April. Bus mean distance between failure was 4,036 miles in April, down 3.5% from last April. The 12-month average mean distance between failure was 3,925 miles, a drop of 2% from a year ago.
Howard, anything we need to be concerned about with that? Is that a trend, or is that a...
I don't think it's a trend, but Joe is struggling with a lot of buses over 12 years of age and a lot of problems.
What percent of the fleet is over 12 years, Joe?
Oh, we have approximately right now over 1,000 buses that are 12 years or older, and we have 1990s that are 19 years old. And we have a load of 93s and 94s. Even at the end of this year, we still will continue to have 90s, 93s, and 94s in service. And we never put some of them through a shop plan because we never could see that they would still be in service at this point. But hopefully, as deliveries come in next year, we'll start removing some of these buses from service.
And you've got a preventative maintenance program or more emphasis on keeping those running?
Yes, we're putting a load of them through. They're getting bulkheads in the shop. It's costly, but they're going through the shop right now for bulkheads. When a 90 or 93 needs a bulkhead, we junk the bus, but we can only junk so many of them. When a 96 needs a bulkhead, we put the money, we put the investment into the vehicle to do it. It's costly, but it keeps the vehicle on the road.
Paratransit service continues to increase at a rapid pace. Completed trips were up 19.1% for the month and by 21.5% for the last 12 months. Customer no-shows were 3.89% of scheduled trips, down by 0.8% from a year ago. On a 12-month basis, however, the percentage of customer no-shows is up by 5.8%. Crime, there were 184 major felonies in April 2009, down by 15 or 7.5% from April 2008. Year-to-date, major felonies are down by 9.9%. Robberies decreased by 5 or 7.2% in April, and are down by 7.6% for the year. The NYPD Transit Division continues to I think amaze people generally with the continued downward pressure on the numbers. Safety results continue to be somewhat mixed. The subway customer accident rate increased by 20.8% for the month of March, and the 12-month average is up by 7.5% from a year ago. Subway fires, on a favorable note, the bus customer accident rate in March was down 16.8% from 2008, and the bus collision rate was down by 7.1%. Subway fire statistics also continue to be favorable. The number of confirmed fires was down by just over 3% for the month of April, and by more than 12% over the last 12 months. In April, all fires were characterized as being low or average in severity. The employee lost time accident rate, however, was up by 40% in April, and the 12-month average is up 9.1%. The most significant increase has been in slips, trips, and falls, and in April there was also a significant increase in incidents due to overexertion. We're taking steps to combat these incidents, many of which can be prevented through proper precautions. Steps include focusing on these two types of incidents at safety meetings and in safety posters and newsletters. In addition, RTO has issued a bulletin emphasizing the importance of proper footwear and accident prevention. And in maintenance of way, supervisors are being given training and back safety awareness. Finance, preliminary April farebox revenue was $250.3 million, equal to the budget. Year-to-date, farebox revenue is 0.7% below budget due to a shortfall on the subway side. Non-reimbursable expenses before depreciation and OPEB were lower than budget by $15 million in April, and $31.1 million year-to-date. On the labor side, both payroll and overtime were under budget in April, reflecting strict spending controls and an overrun in reimbursable activity. Other favorable labor variances include underruns in health and welfare and workers' compensation expenses. On the non-labor side, fuel price underruns were the major favorable variance.
Howard, Michael isn't here, I see, but I was astonished by a 19% increase in our unbilled receivables. What is that all about? Is there somebody from budget that can just tell me why that we've seen that kind of growth?
I don't see, yeah, here we go.
Hi, I'm Aaron Stern, OMB Budget Director. The principal factor in the growth in the unbilled receivables balance has been increases in the job overrun balance. Projects that are in an overrun situation cannot be billed out. So until such time as our capital budget division works with the MTA capital budget people to put into place staff summaries that provide additional project funding, those expenses that have been charged through the in-house capital program remain in the unbilled balance.
This is force account work that we haven't been reimbursed for yet.
Well, the chairman was just noting what the fare is in real dollars, which is $1.38, $1.39, I think, which is pretty remarkable.
$1.33,
Yeah.
but in real dollars, it's 94 cents.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
In 1996 dollars, yeah. 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 April ridership totaled 196.5 million, although this was 0.4% below budget. It's the best monthly performance relative to budget so far this year. Preliminary May 2009 financial results. We've also had an early look at the financial results for May 2009. Farebox revenue was 1.3% below budget and 0.8% below year-to-date. On the expense side, preliminary results for May exceeded budget by $34.7 million or 7.7% due to increased NYCER's pension expenses based on an actuarial valuation update. Year-to-date expenses exceeded budget by $3.6 million or 0.2% as the May pension increase was nearly offset by fuel and other savings. Capital program through April, NYC Transit committed $785.6 million to awards and design starts. The commitment level is 61% of the year-to-date plan. Most of the shortfall continues to be the result of committing only a portion of this year's in-house capital track and switch program thus far due to a partial release of FTA funds for the project. One other capital program note worth mentioning, last week New York City Transit awarded the MTA's first contract using federal stimulus funding. The project, which will construct a new subway ventilation plant on Jackson Avenue in Queens to provide emergency ventilation to 3 subway tunnels that converge near Queens Plaza, was fully designed but deferred from the current capital program due to funding constraints. Thanks to the added infusion of stimulus funding, we're able to award the project in 2009 after all. And as it turned out, the winning bid was $13.3 million below the engineer's estimate for the project. That completes the operating report.
Thank you, Howard. And we're also going to be using stimulus funds for 5 stations in Brooklyn, are we not, to advance stations in Brooklyn?
We have 2 projects for the West End line that will do the entire West End line, and one we have bid openings now, and another will open in July. And there's 2 other projects which we expect to award within a couple of weeks that we had bids opening up in May. So those projects are all rolling.
And those projects were in the 05 to 09 capital plan as using MTA dollars prior to the stimulus dollars, correct? So this
Right.
isn't new.
Similar
to
to
those
this one, they
communities.
would have otherwise been deferred, and now they move back as we have this funding.
Yes.
And that there were a significant number of other stations that were kicked out of the 0509 that were not chosen to use these stimulus dollars instead for other purposes that someone decided. Is that correct?
There are other stations that are still deferred, yes. What's in the stimulus was just based on the total amount of money available in the stimulus package. And so there are certain, the station projects that's the largest is the West End, but everything else is smaller value projects.
Howard, I'm having, as we all have, lived through what feels like 3 weeks of constant rain. How are we doing with the places such as Hillside, Broadway in Long Island City, Park Avenue South, and Upper Broadway in Manhattan, where we've actually raised the gratings and taken all these flood mitigation measures?
I'm sorry, Andrew. I actually sent out a picture of Hillside, and we really didn't get hit as hard out there as we frequently do, but I'll resend it to you. The picture shows the water is up about 7 inches above what used to be the vent level, and we have about another. We could have taken another 2 feet of water, which isn't unusual, by the way, at Hillside.
So what you're saying is that it didn't reach the level of the raised grading now.
It didn't come close. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
So we did fine.
Yeah.
Well, you should be congratulated on Hillside. I think that last Thursday was probably one of the worst days I've seen in the system in the last couple of years. The L line was out for at least an hour completely. The 4, 6, and 5 were delayed substantially. Most of the other delays were so severe that I don't see how you can ever recover your on-time performance for June to do anything that is not a severe change. So, I'm sorry, the 7 line. Was out for a long time, and the delays were even longer. Now, at the same time, I was riding Metro North and the Long Island Railroad, and they maintained their schedules without any apparent problems. And in fact, I took a train to Babylon late in the afternoon. It was 7 minutes early. But it seemed to be really hard hit in the subways on Thursday, other than Hillside, for which you deserve your congratulations.
Well, on the 7 line, we actually had a switch that controls the AC power to our signals went out, and Steve can comment on whether we think that was weather related or not. But in fact, they got out there, they replaced the switch. And I think we were out on the 7 for a total of about 3 hours. It was at a bad time, admittedly, but I thought the recovery was pretty good.
Yeah, these switches are about 70 years old or so, and it was not weather related. The switch just catastrophically failed. We have a couple of more dozen switches like that need to get replaced in the cable. So that's what happened on the Flushing line.
Are they at the front of the line for replacement? Are we doing this on the basis of age, or are we doing it on the basis of geography?
I don't know how they are definitely in front of the line for replacement.
We're going out for bid this year to replace the rest of the signal system on Flushing, and that'll get a CBTC treatment.
Any other comments or questions? We've been interrupting you during the report, but are there any others? Okay, let's keep going.
Interruption is a great tradition in this committee.
I encourage it, Mr. LeBeau.
On the procurement side, the procurement agenda this month includes 20 actions in the book, totaling $1.215 billion in expenditures. The majority of that amount is accounted for by 2 contracts, which are, from my point of view, are both procurement home runs. The first is a new contract for diesel fuel. I'm sure everybody remembers the pain that we went through last year with the 1-year contract for ultra-low sulfur kerosene number 1. And the per gallon differential we paid over the going market index effectively tripled. We did look at ultra-low sulfur diesel number 2, which is far more widely available and presumably would generate more competition. Over the winter, we tested it, satisfied ourselves that it was a viable alternative. Stanley undertook a wide-ranging procurement initiative involving extensive market outreach and a negotiated RFP process that allowed us to react to supplier concerns. As a result, with 5 very competitive proposals in play, our incumbent supplier submitted a best and final offer that not only beat the competition by millions, but offers the most favorable differential pricing we've seen since ultra-low sulfur fuel became available in 2000. The bottom line is that compared to our current contract, over the 5-year term of the new contract, we will save between $168 and $185 million, depending on the actual price of fuel during the period.
And without any degradation in performance whatsoever? And how much does it cost to retrofit the existing fleet to utilize that kind of fuel?
There's no retrofit. It's going to put a little bit more of strain on the particulate filters, but other than yeah. But environmentally speaking, there's no degradation in terms of what goes out into the air.
I know I'm going to screw this up, and I'm probably mixing apples to oranges, but if I remember, one of the key reasons why the last one-year extender cost so much is they were pegging it to a I don't know, a market price index that was only controlled by them. Is that the case in this, or there's
no,
really a pegged amount, and then have you agreed on the differential over that amount?
Yeah, because one was, as we were getting it, was a boutique product. Basically, only one refinery made it. The number 2 ultra-low sulfur is, as we say, available from a number of refineries, and so the index is competitive.
The savings consists of 2 different elements. Part of it is just the fact that generally ULSD runs about 20 cents a gallon less than ULSK, and the rest of it is by they lowered their differential a lot compared with last year's price in the face of competition. We had a lot of good competition. Yeah.
Page 92 of the book sets out those 3 bids, and it really was pretty extraordinary.
The second home run is a 3-year contract to provide pharmaceutical benefits to 61,000 employees and retirees and their families. The majority are TW hourlies, both current retirees, for whom NYCT assumed responsibility for administering health benefit programs in 2003. This contract actually had been extended, our existing contract, since that point in time. Once again, having saved a lot of money in Philadelphia by competitively bidding health benefit and pharmaceutical benefit contracts, we went out, hired a consultant who specialized in the market. We received 9 proposals. They were evaluated by a panel that included a representative of the TW, the first time in which the union participated in the selection panel. Through the RFP process, and again, some very good negotiation by Stanley and his people, we successfully obtained competitive proposals which reflect a transparent pharmaceutical benefit model with pass-through pricing and enforceable financial guarantees. What the transparent basically means is that the provider cannot keep their arrangements and details from the transit authority. We're allowed to look at all their pricing arrangements with all their suppliers.
No hidden rebates.
No hidden rebates or anything of that sort. As a result, we estimate that the recommended award will result in savings of 8.9% compared to our current provider, or as much as $50 million over the 3-year duration of the contract. I ask for your approval of all 20 actions in the agenda.
One, is this typical for us to have a consultant to look over every aspect of a subway car purchase, such as this one? Doesn't that, I mean, is that taken into account when we get the price per car on these kinds of things?
Yeah, Steve, do you want to?
Yeah, we typically bring, well, in this case, LTK on to oversee all the actions in engineering, services.
Every time we buy a fleet of cars, we have a,
Every time we have both or four, we do it.
and the reason this one just went up so much is because we're exercising the option on additional cars? Is that the reason?
That's probably one of the reasons, but what they typically involved is typical all the engineering and the design reviews on the car.
This is one of those cases, again, of whether you hire people in-house to do this sort of thing or whether you only contract out for it when you actually need it.
And this contract,
We did this on the R-142 fleet as well?
exactly, same thing with the consultant contract mirrors the base train contract. So when we negotiated, it had a base and two options, just the way the cars did. And so this is exercising the second option. We did the second option for the trains, as you remember, last year. But now that they're starting to get delivered, we need to exercise this so they can be in the field.
And we're finding this is good value for the money. This consultant comes in and finds things that we think are being done with these cars that are in fact not happening, or?
Yeah, it is value added. They also reside up in Hornell, where we do QA and QC
Where you do the
work. Yeah, not just
manufacturing.
engineering, exactly.
Okay. Can I have a motion? Second? This is just the 20 actions. We have not yet done the action items.
Okay, I just have a quick question.
Go ahead.
On the paratransit contract, that's in this package? How much is it per ride by using these vouchers and these livery services? I don't see it anywhere. I see some ranges of -1 to -15. I didn't understand it.
I'll have to get back with the average on this because I don't remember off the top of my head, but it was in the 20s somewhere versus the current
60?
contracts, which are in the 50s, if I remember correctly.
I
They're
still encourage
significantly
us-
less expensive,
I continue
and that's
to
why
encourage
we're
us to do more.
beefing up the number of contractors we have to expand the service.
Questions and comments? Okay, a vote to move these? Second? All in favor? Okay. Action items.
Action items for approval. This month, we're presenting a staff summary to obtain board approval of a proposal to modify the 2005 to 2009 capital program. The modification adds a project valued at $3.3 million to upgrade the bill handling units of our MetroCard vending machines. The primary purpose of this upgrade is to remain current with regard to anti-counterfeiting measures and new bill designs issued by the federal government. The project will fund installation of conversion kits developed by the manufacturer and will cost less than 1/3 of the cost of new bill handling units, the only practical alternative for remaining current with respect to resisting counterfeit currency.
The federal government isn't planning on changing the size or position of Jackson's face in the near future again, are they?
We've heard
Amazing.
some pretty wide divergencies on how much counterfeit bills we're taking in. How much are we really stuck with?
I think that the only person that could have answered that question is Michael Chubak, but we will get an answer for you, obviously.
Howard, do you have an idea what the percentage of transactions is with bills versus credit or debit cards?
I'm not sure.
Oh, it is? Okay, thanks.
Howard? Doreen, could you explain something to me? On page 84, there's an item for affiliated physicians. Can you explain, in this day and age, and please don't take it the wrong way, why we're spending $600,000 on medical examinations for executives?
This is because the state doesn't cover it in the health care program, isn't it?
That's correct. Yeah.
Granted, but when we're cutting things such as services, isn't this one reasonably that we can ask our executives to pay for themselves?
Yeah. Oh, I know.
I mean, it's pretty shocking that annual physical exams are not covered by by health programs.
It's not covered in our benefits, and it's a long-standing program.
It's not covered under,
At least 3 decades.
not covered under mine either. And
Right.
We just cut ours. I mean, I went for my physical. It wasn't covered. I paid out of pocket. I don't think. I mean, if we reimburse in the city, I'd love to hear about it.
And remember, this is for 3 agencies as well. It's bridges and tunnels.
So then maybe
And
maybe
others.
somebody could tell me how many people this covers.
This is a program in which not everybody goes, through the program. It covers other constituent agencies, and it has existed at least since 1985.
I understand both the length and the historical perspective, but it's $600,000. How much is the cost per individual?
I don't know, but I can get back to you on exactly what the amount is.
I'd appreciate knowing the number of people covered and the cost per person.
I'll get that to you
Thanks
this
very much.
afternoon.
Thank you.
Any other questions on that? Okay.
Did we have a vote on the?
Vote. We didn't take a vote on the action item. Could I have a motion? Second? All in favor? Okay.
This month, we are also presenting a tariff revision for board approval to increase the number of Bronx bus routes honoring unit tickets. This change is needed now that Metro North has opened its new Yankee East 153rd Street station. Unit tickets are jointly sponsored by NYCT and the commuter railroads and provide a substantial discount on selected NYCT local buses serving as feeder routes to commuter rail stations. This action will allow passengers displaying the prepaid unit tickets purchased from Metro North to ride for free on the Bronx 6 and Bronx 13 buses traveling in the direction of the new station from elsewhere in the Bronx or in either direction when boarding at the stadium station.
Second? All in favor?
Service change this month. We're notifying the committee of general bus schedule changes planned for implementation in the fall. These changes affect 52 routes and result in net annual savings of $0.6 million. The changes include adjustments based on ridership demand to comply with the board-adopted guidelines, as well as revised running times that more accurately reflect actual traffic conditions.
So if you see a bus that shows actually no change in the headways, but a decrease, you're extending the running time? Is that what that means?
I'm sorry, Andrew, say that again.
There's a bus which has certain headways in all the different times. Those are exact same headways going forward in the new fall schedule, but it shows a decrease of 4-point-some-odd%. Does that mean you're extending the running time, and that's why the decrease?
Or decreasing the. I think in the thing you've set up, if the headway stays the same, and there's a savings, that means that you have a situation in which the running time has to decrease. Just as if the headway stays the same and the running time increases, then that will show a net increase in cost.
Got it. Thank you.
Lastly, in Section 8 of the agenda, we have our regular status report on the AFC program.
Any questions on that or on anything else? Okay, we're going to close. Yes, Jeff?
Before we close, I know we already took the vote, but can I be recorded the negative on that contract on the physical?
Also,
Okay, reflect that in the records, please.
Thank you, sorry.
MTA Bus?
Good morning, Madam Chair Frasca and members of the Bus Committee. First, I'd like to ask the committee to approve the minutes of the May 20th meeting.
I move that the committee meeting minutes be approved. Second.
All in favor? Okay.
Also, there were no changes to the work plan this month. Operations highlights, overall service performance continued to be solid. Both AM and PM weekly pullouts and completed trips were well above 99% for both April and the previous 12 months. Before you ask me what percentage of the fleet was 12 years or over, in the TA it's roughly a quarter of the fleet is 12 years or older. MTA buses, around 15% of the fleet is 12 years or older. MDBF was 3625 in April. It's down 31% from last April. But the 12-month average improved by 4.7% from the same period last year. We expect MDBF to be slightly impacted as the fleet age increases, as well as the hybrid battery performance continues to decline. We're roughly changing. Hybrid buses are about a quarter of the fleet in MTA bus. They're reaching their 2-year life, and as they reach their 2-year life, we have to change out the batteries, tubs, and we are doing that after they reach their 2-year life. We didn't expect it to happen. I believe I brought it up at the last meeting. We didn't expect it to happen so soon, but it's in reaction to the average speeds that the buses see in both Queens and Brooklyn. Safety performance for the previous 12 months was mixed. Bus collision rate improved by nearly 11.5% from the same period last year. However, the bus collision injury rate rose by 22%. A significant factor in this was a single collision involving 30 people on a Q22 bus in Rockaway. The customer accident rate went up by 27.3%, and the customer accident injury rate went up slightly by 0.5%. Employee lost time accident rate also went up by 25%. Total ridership for April was down 1.1% from April of '08. It's largely because the Easter holiday fell in April this year. The 12-month average was up 5.9%. April farebox revenue was $12.8 million, or 2.7% better than the adopted budget levels. For year-to-date, that's $1 million, or 2% better than budget. Total non-reimbursable expenses before non-cash adjustments were $15.4 million better than budget for the year through April. Primary factors contributed to these underruns are various timing of payments. Half of that was savings in fuel, material, and labor. Fuel saving prices have been starting to creep up in the recent few months. MTA Bus is also piggybacking in the contract that the TA is using with number 2 sulfur. So we also expect to have the savings there also. Material savings are also, we're doing very good in material because we're using the salvage buses, stripping them like we are in the TA up in Eastchester. And we also have labor savings as a result of our overtime controls, hiring freezes, and lags that we've had in effect. We don't have any action items, procurements, or ratifications for the committee this month. We do have one service change. We will discontinue a part-time southbound AM peak period branch on the BXM1 and BXM2 in Riverdale. Currently, a small number of southbound trips on these two routes. A total of 7 trips along Independence Avenue, between Independence and 239th Street during the AM peak. This stop is not along the main path of the BXM1 and BMX2. There is no northbound service at this stop. And it basically affects 24 customers a day who use that stop. They will have to walk a maximum of 1,100 feet. And by discontinuing this branch, it roughly saves us $175,000 a year. And we planned on implementing that service revision for September of this year.
Any questions?
Why was that a one-way thing only? Just out of curiosity.
It's been like that for years. There's a lot of things in MTA bus that have existed due to maybe at one time some private line, in this case, or a trolley, or a certain truck went that route, and for some reason they just kept it, and it was never really looked at to see what the ridership was. And it's a deviation from the normal path, and by doing that, it really takes the bus off it's streamlining and what's the quickest way of getting the bus downtown. And it really was affected very few riders, so we decided to make that change. Okay.
Any other questions?
Okay. I think
we have an item for executive session, and we will take that up regarding a labor matter. Move to go into executive session. All in favor?